but we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. It is Sunday afternoon. It's 1 p.m. and that's the time when we do the Q&A stream. You guys are going to ask questions. I'm going to answer them. We're going to talk for a couple hours, and then Ciati will start streaming. Well, anyway, that's 2 hours from now. How's y'all doing today? Hello, Bastion Sonderman. Good to see you. Snoopy FPV. GMI Visuals. GMI Visuals, are you, do you work for, you seem to comment a lot on my Sharkbite stuff. Do you work for HD0? Who are you? Who are you? Who is GMI Visuals? You Sharkbite beta tester? I've been wondering that. Oh, I finally got my, build video for the Omega 250 with Sharkbite up. There's nothing like getting 2 days into a build video and realizing that things are going to go screwy, and then having to think, oh my God, people are not necessarily going to want to follow this build. It's always a good idea to, you always want people to be able to follow build videos and follow along, but it's not a good idea to have a too high stack on the Magod 250. It wasn't made for that. I mean, Tommy came up with a modification to the 250 build that made it possible to do a 2-high stack, but it wasn't really the intent. It was made for a 1-high toothpick style flight controller, and when you adapt it to a 2-high, you can't get at the arm screws anymore. And I reached that point in the build and was like, oh, this is a deal breaker. I would not do this again. But if you have a 250 and you want Sharkbite, maybe that's a trade-off you're willing to make. So, John Goodwin, thank you. Yeah, GMI Visuals is Jason, but I hope I don't sound dumb. Who's Jason? Which person is Jason? because that doesn't narrow it down a lot. Oh, Siash is here, attending their first live stream. Siash, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Can I live stream video from my Attitude V6, says David Correz. I don't know how you would do that. It can only output analog video, so you would need an analog video capture device, but they're pretty bad. So, G Strondel in the Discord. Oh, hang on a second, you guys. Let's just get this out of the way. This is my this is what I got going on here. Over here on the left is the YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Good to see you. I'm gonna be reading your chats and answering them. If you want to make sure that I get to your message, hit the $, leave a super chat, and I will be reading those out throughout the stream. And are there any benefits to a side feed antenna? Jeremy Sarge asks. I wanted to get that. Jeremy, I believe you see the side feed antennas on the 1.3 gigahertz. I think the main advantage to a side feed antenna is just more compact. I think that's it. You don't really see side feed antennas on anything except 1.3 gig in FPV. At least I don't. And I think the reason is that the 5 gig and the 2.4 gig antennas are all still pretty small. So if there's some technical advantage, then I don't know about that. Also, over here on the right side of the screen, hello. These beautiful people, give them their moment in the sun. The right side of the screen is my Discord server. And these are my patrons over on my Discord server. If you want to join them. And my gosh, it is just taken off. Taken off for the life of it. Look at all these channels. Look at all these channels where people are discussing all these things and getting help from each other. Even some channels with cat and dog pictures. But it's been, how long? I can't remember. It's been July since I looked at the dog channel. Wow. Let's, yeah. People posting pics of their dogs and cats. Oh, that's really nice. I gotta check that channel more often. See, why would you not want to be on this server? Oh, now let's give cats their due. Also read on July. Jeez, it's been a long time. Oh, yes. Cats and dogs. What more could you ask for at a Discord server? Anyway. But I forgot. We got to go back to live stream chat. Crap. Where is live stream chat? There they are. There was a question. There was a question there. About... what was the question? Where was the question? Where was the question? There was a question. It's gone. Oh, G Strondel wants a tuning service. Can anybody recommend a tuning service? The two people I know who do tuning services were Mark Spatz, UAV Tech, and Crunked. And Mark Spatz stopped doing it. Basically, he just got too busy and it took too much time. Crunked, I think, is still doing it. But I'm not sure if he is a little overwhelmed, too, because somebody, like two people who I recommended Crunked, if you're here, you can speak for yourself. Sometimes he's in the chat. But they were like, hey, I emailed Crunked and kind of didn't get a response back. And I got the impression maybe Crunked was a little overwhelmed. Dylan Merck says Ciati has a tuning service. I don't know about that. I hadn't heard he was doing that. He may be worth reaching out to as well, G Strondel. So I would hit Ciati up, see if he's yeah, Remy Tim confirms Ciati has. So G Strondel, you should hit up Ciati. We'll see about that. Yeah, Crunk's website, G Strondel points out that Crunk's website says his service is currently unavailable. Okay, that was the impression that I got as well. Mr. Huggy says, side feed antennas are more for RC aircraft. We put them inside the wing of foam FPV wings. Mr. Huggy, is a side feed antenna just basically how the wire goes into the antenna? Or is there something about the, like the antenna design itself? Mouse FPV says that Brian White of PID Toolbox fame is starting up a tuning service as well. Hard to argue with him. He is He's probably one of the best at using PID Toolbox to tune. So, yeah. Let's see here. Thomas Shoes World wants to know, what are your thoughts on the 20x20 Foxier Reaper ESC? I think, let's pull that one up. Let's pull up a picture of it. Let's pull up a picture of it. The thing I like, so first of all, I've heard, I always reserve judgment on a new ESC because at the end of the day, anybody can make an ESC, and it's the actual design of the ESC that is going to determine how well it performs more than anything else. Like a BLHeli-S or BLHeli-32 ESC, you could crank them out and they could be good or they could be bad. The other thing to keep in mind is that the performance of the ESC is relatively likely to be similar to other ESCs of that size and amp rating in terms of like motor response time and so forth. The main way that the ESC is going to differ in its performance is its durability. And I'm well on record. I'll say it again for those who've missed it, that 20 millimeter ESCs often are not as durable as I would prefer them to be. There are some exceptions. Like I tested the 20 millimeter ESC on the Nazgul Evoke, and it held up to my abuse for what it's worth. The Foxier Reaper, I've heard good things about it from people who are running it on race rigs, and as we know, racing quads take a whole lot of abuse. In addition, they've done the trick where you make it bigger than 20 millimeters and hang over the edge a little bit. Now, I don't think they're using the same size FETs as like the Redux Air, just to sort of visually looking at them. So here's a Foxier Reaper. Is this the same one? That's the 65 amp version. You're asking about the 45 amp version. Yes, okay. So the 45, is it this 1, 2, 3, 4? No, I think the 65 amp version, that's the 45. Okay. The 65 amp version has the bigger FETs, if my memory is correct. I was a little confused by that. This one looks like it's got the smaller ones. And maybe is only one-sided. Is it one-sided? Is that? Yeah. So the 45 amp one, I'm not sure I could speak to it because I think I've been researching the 65 amp one. The 65 amp Reaper, I think it is like there's a 60, yeah. And then there's the 45. Okay. They've gone down to the smaller FETs. Where's the Redux Air? There we go. If we look at like the Redux Air, they have the same large FETs that are used on the 35 millimeter ESCs, and so it contributes to increased durability. It's 20 millimeter mounting, but it's essentially a 30 millimeter ESC. Long story short, the Reapers, the people I know who race with the Reapers seem to like them, but I believe that applies more to the 60 and the 65 amp Reaper. The 45 amp Reaper seems to have the smaller FETs. That doesn't mean it's inherently bad, but it does mean it may not have the same durability as the bigger ones. So, there you go. Glitchy asks, is it the size of the FET or the way you use it? Well, I mean, you're joking, but there is some truth to that you can build a 20 millimeter ESC with small FETs, but you can do other things right in the design of the ESC, like your selection of the FETs, like the capacitors and other aspects of the electrical design that I'm not really qualified to comment on. So some are better than others, but there's little substitute for having larger, higher rated FETs in terms of durability, and so that's why the smaller ESCs struggle. Thank you very much, Fair Rowies, for a €5 super chat. Just saying thanks for your content. It's entertaining. And Durzo FPV, thanks for a $2 super chat, asking for any other animal channels, cats and dogs. I don't know. Those channels got made way back when the server got started, and there was a little more screwing around. I mean, I guess we could expand, but cats and dogs, I mean, let's face it, they're the best. Risky. Suyash wants to know, would you say a sub 250 gram 3.5 inch quad would be good for Spang style freestyle? No bandos in India, so you gotta do Spang style out in an open field. Like, I am not really qualified to comment because I really can't fly Spang style. If I was like good at Spang style, then I could comment on whether you could fly it. But I don't know how you fly Spang style with a 5 inch, so I don't know if you could do it with a 3.5. My guess is if you hand Farouk or one of the other Spang style pilots a 3.5 inch, they could fly it similar to how. So I'm going to guess that you can. But at the same time, especially with a style that involves so much sort of use of momentum, it feels like when I watch Spang style flying, like there's a lot of momentum and weight and mass, and a lot of those moves where the quad kind of hangs in the air. And I think the weight of the quad is more likely to affect something like Spang style than a style where you're sort of mostly flying forward. Think about something like Drew Camden style, or maybe Tommy Tibahia style, where it is a lot of sort of long lines moving forward through the environment, a flowy style. You can do that with a lighter weight quad. Instead of sort of flinging, you kind of need to stay on the throttle a little more, but you can make it work. But any style that involves a lot of pop, off throttle, float, that style is going to be way more affected by a change in the weight or the disc loading of the quad. Nevertheless, I feel confident you could get it done. There's a question about, I didn't see who asked it. There's a question about DJI canvas mode. People are wondering when DJI canvas mode is coming. One person messaged me and said that they talked to Caddx, and whoever they talked to at Caddx said that canvas mode was coming at the end of October. Oh, that's exciting. That would be exciting if it was true. There's no way to know if that's true or if that's just somebody from Caddx tech support just sort of talking out their butt. When it's here, it'll be here. When it's not here, it'll be now. So, Riven Rise wants to know, what are the best upgrades for a DJI goggle, in your opinion? The Newbie Drone, it's not the Newbie Drone. There's a new goggle foam. Is it Newbie Drone's goggle foam? Newbie Drone has a new DJI goggle padding. That's not the one. No. Not this one. Not this one. I mean, this one isn't bad, but I didn't love this one. Where is the... Is it foam? Yeah. This is the one. This foam is... No. No, I haven't tried that one. That's not the one I'm thinking of either. What's the one I'm thinking of? They sent me some of those. I haven't tried them. I didn't realize actually they were different than this one until just this moment. There is a DJI goggle foam that I'm using right now that I think is pretty darn good. It's not this one though. That's the problem. Yes, it is. It's this one. Yeah. So I'm using this goggle. This picture is inaccurate. That's why I was confused. This goes all the way around, including the nose piece. Then it has an additional little foam piece to help block out the nose light leak. This thing is really comfortable and does the best job of blocking light leak of anything I've seen. GetFPV is not the only one who sells it, but that's where I found the listing, so I'll throw a link at it. The only downside of this, in my opinion, is if you wear glasses underneath your goggles, like I do. This stuff is thick enough that you kind of can't. It grabs my glasses, and I can't really jam them in there. Does Pyro have it as well? So I have diopter inserts, yeah. So Pyrodrone, comfy foam. This is the same stuff, I'm pretty sure. It looks the same, doesn't it? MK points out you still do get a little light leak from the nose. It's true. I agree with that statement, but at the same time, at the same time, I mean, you know, a little light leak isn't the end of the world. Now, people are commenting on this newbie drone goggle foam. I haven't tried this. Is this? Oh, it's the same one. Is that the same one? Why are they all selling it as their own brand? Yes, this is the same one. So, all right, I'll throw the newbie drone link. As far as I can tell, I mean, the fact that this nose piece is identical for all of them says to me that it's the same foam. Everybody's just selling it under their own name. I don't know why, but it's maybe Newbie Drone has it. Get FPV has it. Pyrodrone has it. It sure as heck looks like the exact same stuff. But they're all selling it under their own name. Anyway, I look for this right angle nose piece. Okay. Anyway, the only downside, in my opinion, is if you wear glasses underneath it. For me, at least, and I don't have great big honking glasses anyway. I can't really get them in there, so I have to use diopter inserts. But I think they're very good. Anyway, that's a great upgrade. As far as other upgrades, I mean, I think that if you... the range on the stock antennas, if you look at Wesley Vardy's testing, he did DJI range testing, the range on the stock antennas is quite good. Surprisingly good. Stock antennas are usually garbage. However, if you upgrade to something like the iFlight Crystal antennas, it's a little better. Just a little better. And that's... the main thing I like about the iFlight Crystal antennas is that you can put them into the case or into your backpack without taking them off, and it doesn't really seem like they're going to break. So they're a little easier to work with. So I would upgrade to something like iFlight Crystal or Luminaire Axie HD. They're very similar in performance. And then the face mask. Those are two really good upgrades. I should do a video, you know, best DJI upgrades. Ooh, that would be people would watch that, wouldn't they? Yeah. Let me make a note of that. Yeah, okay. Write that down. Elias Reisinger, thank you for commenting on my episode of Get FPV's FPV Legends. Really enjoyed it. I'm glad you liked it. It was fun getting to talk to them. C Young 300 in the Discord thinks TrueRC stubbies are the best for the V2 goggles. Yeah, you're not wrong. Check this out. Singularity Stubby 4-pack for DJI goggles. I think these may be the lowest profile. I wish they'd show them on the goggles. I think these may be the lowest profile antennas you can put on a DJI goggle. And the performance is quite good. TrueRC is very good. If we compare to iFlight Crystal... If we compare to iFlight Crystal, is it lower profile than iFlight Crystal? By the way, that's wrong. Patch goes on the bottom, guys. That's Wesley Vardy confirms it even for the DJI goggles V2. For the record, patch goes on the bottom. My opinion was V1 also, but for the V2, Wesley Vardy confirmed for sure patch on the bottom. Well, I guess that might not be lower profile. I guess that might not be. That's pretty similar. I would take a patch-style antenna like the Crystal over 4 Omnis, unless you know for a fact you're going to be flying behind yourself a lot. Crunked. Nope. Sorry, man. You're wrong. No, I don't know. Yeah, patch. Oh no, sorry, Crunk. My bad. You're agreeing with me. I agree. Patch on the bottom. Patch on the bottom. Omni on the top. That's the way to do it. I think most people when they fly, they stand at the edge of the flight field and then fly in front of themselves. Not all. Like I can think of a couple office parks that I've been at where you were sitting in the middle and you might like 4 Omnis. But in general, I think you're going to benefit from having a little bit more directionality. Madstech, I agree with you. Madstech says the only reason to replace the DJI antennas is for a patch or for size. I agree. The DJI stock antennas are, in terms of performance, are quite good. They're more than good enough for anybody. The size of the antenna, or if you want a little more gain and directionality, that's why you would replace them. Windjumby FPV, I do not have the new DJI action camera. By the way, you guys know about the new DJI Osmo? Peter McKinnon apparently leaked it. Or maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. It was probably an accident. He blurted out. Oh! Ah! He went in. I don't know if you guys know this. In YouTube, you can, after a video is posted in YouTube, you can go blur a section of it. If, like, you accidentally put somebody's face in it or something. He leaked the DJI Osmo Action, and then he went back and apparently blurred it, but somebody grabbed a screen grab of it. So Peter McKinnon has unintentionally, or maybe intentionally, probably not, probably wouldn't jeopardize his relationship with DJI like that. There's the DJI Osmo Action V2 and the box. He is working with it already. Now that's exciting for a couple reasons. Number one, it means it's real, so yay. And number two, it means it's coming soon. Because, like, here's retail packaging, right? That's clearly retail packaging. So, I mean, I think I would say that means we're a few months away from it coming out at most. As you know, every time I make predictions, they turn out to be completely correct. So, will the lens be fragile? Who knows? Wait to see. Wait to see. But, yeah. Estimated price, no one knows. Windjumby says pilots have it in hands already. Who? I don't have it. Why don't DJ? Nobody. Yeah. Nobody sends me things. Some people send me things. Okay, I'm salty right now. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why I'm salty right now. Right this minute, I'm slightly salty because Caddx didn't send me the Caddx Polar Nano. And I'm sorry, now it sounds like I'm calling out Caddx and talking shit. And I'm not. I don't mean it that way. But, like, the Caddx Polar Nano has been dropped. Gal Kremer, Chris Rosser, it's dropped. Those reviews are out. Oscar, no, not Oscar Leung. So they had their release. They didn't send it to me. And I know why. I mean, I think I know why. Because when they sent me the Caddx Polar, I tested it. And I had a problem with mine. And the problem with mine turned out to be a fluke. It was an anomaly. It was a bad review, and they weren't happy about that. And if I were them, I would be like, yeah, screw this guy. But on top of that, I am also really down on any of the 60 FPS DJI cameras. Every single time someone puts out a DJI 60 FPS camera, I'm going to start the review by complaining about the fact that it's not a 120 FPS camera. And by the way, Runcam, thank you for sending me your new DJI camera. I have the Runcam Link. I'm working on the review of that. And I will start that review by complaining that it's not a 120 FPS camera. So I wonder how much that played in. But I kind of don't blame them because for whatever reason, I definitely experienced a really bad latency issue with that setup. And I don't know what it was, but I was unable to replicate it. But if I were them, I probably would be a little concerned that would happen again and not thrilled about sending me another one. But anyway. Madstech says Caddx hasn't talked to him either. Interesting. I wonder why. I mean, fair. I mean, obviously, they're not under any obligation to send me product, right? So, do what they want. But fair play. I certainly, if I was Caddx, I would be annoyed. that review presented their product in a bad light when it turns out it was not representative. It was representative of the product that I got, but not representative of the product as a whole. And although I put up a correction, there's only so much a correction you can do to fix that. So, but they need to stop making the. Here's why I left that. But by the way, that video is still up, for the record. That video is still up. I didn't take that video down. I did put a pinned comment and I put a retraction or correction video. But the reason I left that video up is because at the end of the day, number one, it does show the camera's image quality, so people can judge for themselves. And the things I say about the 60 FPS cameras are still true. The gist of that is that I'm disappointed that this is a 60 FPS camera. And yes, the answer is because of the component shortage. That's exactly right. Who in the comments said that? 507RC. It's the component shortage. And in case it's not clear, like, oh, 60 FPS isn't good enough for you. With DJI, you need the 120 FPS cameras in order to get the best latency. So a 60 FPS camera with DJI is going to give you 35 to 45 milliseconds of latency, depending on maybe as little as like 32 under optimal conditions. Whereas a 120 FPS camera is going to give you maybe 25 to 30 milliseconds, maybe a little more of latency. And that's a significant difference. Not the end of the world, but so when you hear people asking for the 120 FPS DJI cameras, that's why. The other thing is the 120 FPS cameras are also the only ones that can do 4:3 mode. They're the only ones that have adjustable exposure, color, contrast, etc. They have all those features that you want. But mostly what they have is the lowest possible latency. And I do think that you can tell under certain circumstances, under certain conditions, that you're flying with those lower ones. Now, Jason Lee says the chip for 120 FPS will not be available for a long time, and they still need to sell cameras to keep the company alive. Jason Lee, you're right, and I get it. And that's why when people ask me, what DJI camera should I get today? I say the Caddx Polar is the best one that you can actually get. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If I could just point out, this is in stock. Make a little affiliate link here and paste this in the chat. There's an affiliate link. Okay. This is in stock. This camera, boom. This is a Nebula Pro camera internally. This is a 120 FPS camera, right? Confirm. Wait, are you? There you go. 720p, 120 FPS. Boom. Caddx got. Zoom in. Enhance. Enhance. Zoom in on this. Ah, there it is. Do you see? That's a 120 FPS camera. Caddx got the components they needed to make 120 FPS cameras. Caddx made a batch of Nebula Pros. Here they are. But you can only buy them with the full-size air unit. Oh, why didn't they make them with the Vistas? Because you could buy Caddx Polars today with a Vista VTX, and you could buy Nebula Pros 120 FPS cameras today with an air unit. Wonder what the logic there is. Well, I'll tell you what I think it is. Like, think it through. If you want to sell the most product possible, why would you take the two things people want the most and put them together? Why would you take, in a case where you have component shortages, you've got Caddx Polar cameras, which people are like, yeah, okay, they're okay, but I sure would like them to be 120 FPS. And you've got a Caddx Air Unit VTX, where people are like, yeah, but I'd rather have the Vista. And you put the camera that everybody wants with the VTX that nobody really wants. Well, not nobody, but in the FPV world, the Vista is preferred for its generally preferred. You take the camera that people kind of like holding their nose and accepting, the Polar, and you put it with the VTX that everybody wants. And you sell more stuff. And I get it. I don't want to be too judgy because Caddx needs to stay in business. They need to stay alive. And right now, a lot of FPV companies are struggling to sell enough product to stay alive because they can't, because of component shortages, because of logistics issues, because, I mean, honestly, the single biggest traffic of since I've been in FPV, the single biggest bump was right around the April-May 2020 timeframe when lots of people were home from work, and then the U.S. government gave out these stimulus checks. So everybody had $1,200 in their pocket. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And then there was this huge bump. It wasn't the biggest my channel has ever been in terms of like I'm talking about affiliate revenue, because affiliate revenue relates to sales, right? And sales, if you're a FPV company, then you need sales. That was a huge bump. And I also saw a big uptick in emails and messages from people who are getting into the hobby. Now, here in September, October 2021, we've got lots of component shortages, so stuff is out of stock and difficult to manufacture. We've got shipping issues, so stuff is difficult to ship from China to the US or to other places in the world. And we've got a whole bunch of people going back to work. So instead of being home building quadcopters, these are things that I think are playing in. So there's all these companies who are struggling to survive. Caddx is certainly, no exception. So when they do something like this, I understand it. As a customer, I'm annoyed. Why didn't they take these cameras, make Nebula Pros out of them? Because as I understand it, whatever the internals are, it's a 120 FPS. It's a 120 FPS camera. Why didn't they put these with Vista VTXs like we would want? And I think the answer is to sell product. Malera in the Discord says, these are Nebula Pro cameras in stock. For real, though? For real, though? You sure about that? You sure? How much is this? What's this one? Black. 12 centimeter. Yeah, okay. Can I really buy it? Is it really in stock? I'm so skeptical. I mean, it's not impossible, but I'm a little skeptical. That's something. That's really something. You guys should, I'll put this in the chat. I mean, I can't vouch for this seller and I can't vouch for this product listing, but if you want to take a punt, that's like, I haven't seen Nebula Pros in stock in a long time. So who knows? Mike Bergman, buy this camera and tell us if it comes. Tell us if it's actually in stock and actually shipping. So, there you go. People are asking about the Runcam. People are asking about the Runcam. So Runcam released their Runcam Link Phoenix HD kit. Can I just be clear, because there are still people who maybe are confused about this. Neither Runcam nor Caddx makes this VTX. Now I don't know that for a fact. Like Runcam or Caddx or DJI, I don't know if they. I don't think they've made like a statement, a public statement about that. They certainly haven't made a statement to me. So I'm going to put that out there as my speculation. I feel very confident about it. That if you look at the Caddx Vista, if you look at the Runcam one, it seems pretty clear that these are manufactured by DJI and they're just repackaged by Runcam and Caddx. Okay? The cameras, I do believe that Runcam and Caddx make the cameras because obviously we know Runcam and Caddx can make cameras. So I believe that's what's happening is DJI is selling these VTXs to Runcam and Caddx. They are developing their own cameras. It's just a MIPI cable and a MIPI output, and maybe there's some other nonsense there to make it work. And so when people say, oh, Runcam's making a VTX, they aren't. It's just DJI with a Runcam camera. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Frankly, that's fine with me. Victor Sig says he ordered from that AliExpress store. It is not in stock. Don't waste your time. Big FPV, the Runcam Vista says the input is 4S Max. That's a misprint. That's got to be a misprint. That is just a Caddx Vista. It's a DJI Air Unit Lite. Whatever you want to call it. It's the exact same damn thing. I mean, I'm like so sure about that. Where's the input voltage? Here's a manual. Oh, it's there. Like Runcam made a manual. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, see, power. This is the DJI manual. Look at the manual. Right? This is just straight out of the DJI. It goes to 26 volts. That's not a problem. So, yeah, this is just the DJI. Anyway, so. So it's great that they're making cameras. Although, again, Caddx, it's a 60 FPS camera. Damn it. It's a 60 FPS camera. That's not what we want. So, and I'm not going to say stop buying these 60 FPS cameras. Like, obviously, it's better if you've got DJI, 60 FPS is completely flyable. It's annoying. It's sad. We want better. I really think that if Caddx was trying to serve the FPV audience, they would have sold those Nebula Pros with a Vista, with a small VTX, a Vista VTX, instead of an Air Unit Lite. I'm not sure what the logic was about that, whether they were just motivated. Because let's face it, if Caddx sold a Nebula Pro camera, a 120 FPS camera, with a Vista VTX, nobody would buy the Caddx Polar. That would just objectively be a better product. So, I mean, I feel like that was a business decision. I get it. I'm disappointed. If you have all the money in the world, buy one of those air units from Rotor Riot, take the camera off and put it on your Vista. You're paying $200 for a damn camera. It's stupid. You shouldn't do it. But somebody out there could do it if they had a lot of money. Anyway. There's another interesting product. What is it? It is the Flywoo is selling. I can't find it. Flywoo has a naked Vista they're selling. They're selling a naked Vista. No, not nude. I cannot remember the name of the product. Hex Nano HD. There we go. It's 360 there. Are they selling it? They're selling just the net. Where Caddx Vista Nano? I can't find the link. Caddx is selling just a naked. That's under a different product name, and I'm having trouble finding it. Is it flywoo.net? Yeah. Maybe it's just like on their front page. Wouldn't that be nice? New products. Well, it's a new product. Surely that'll show up, right? Polar Nano Vista. That's it. That's the, oh yeah, that's the Polar Nano. They're selling a naked one though, aren't they? I think they are. Thank you. Thank you, Bashizi, in the Discord for that. Yeah, look at this. This is cool. So this is the Polar Nano. Now, maybe the image quality on this will be better than the Nebula Nano, which was pretty poor. I haven't tested it, so I don't know. But it's cool that they're selling a naked Vista, so you don't have to do it yourself. That's kind of cool. $139. Nice. Really cool. Saves some weight, and somebody else will do the hard work for you. Pretty slick. Put one of those in my gosh darn 250. Yep. I should probably get one since Caddx didn't include me in the initial batch of reviewers. I should probably pick one up because I'm very interested to see. Buy with PayPal. Hey, don't be looking at my account information. Stop with the pop-ups. Jesus. Don't read my account information. Pay with Visa. Pay with rewards. Oh, use ultimate rewards points. Sure. No. Don't do that. Which Visa? Yeah, okay, that's the one. Continue. I guess I'm going to buy it from Flywoo. I'm going to buy the naked one. We'll do a little review of that. My address is correct. Yeah, let's read my phone number out on stream. Ow, let's not do that. I don't want free shipping. Yeah, would you like shipping to take 10 years? Faster standard shipping. It's coming from overseas. I'll do DHL. $35 for... I'm paid... Yeah. All right, DHL will get it here, though. My password is Blunty1234. That is correct. All right, ordered. In case anybody wonders whether I get everything I review for free. There you go. No, the answer is no. Okay. Ricardo Ferreira. There hasn't been an update to DJI in over a year and a half. They've moved on. I'm interested in new cameras and new VTXs. And when everybody who flies DJI is very interested in when a new 120 FPS camera is coming out. That's for sure. Thomas Hugh, 120 FPS is important exclusively for the latency. It's not the frame rate. It's just the only way DJI gets the latency down to something that people find, if not ideal, acceptable. That's the only reason. It's not like with a GoPro where 120 FPS gives you slow-mo and stuff. So, we got a bunch of more super chats coming in. Can you, Suyash wants to know, can you suggest an HD split style camera which has one camera? Oh, Suyash, Aaron Ciati likes the Runcam hybrid split camera. It is not a single lens camera though. It's got dual lenses. I don't know a split style camera. I don't know about latency. And I don't know about the image quality. I like the Runcam split micro, the 20mm Runcam split. I thought it was pretty decent. I think that, I guess that would be it. As far as latency goes, I don't know though. I haven't tested it. The double lens does add weight. I would probably, so when I reviewed the HX115, it had the Runcam split, is the micro? Runcam split. Yeah, was it, maybe it was the Nano. Let's just look. I probably made a video about it. There we go. So I thought the Runcam split Nano was decent. And I made a video. This was back in 2019, so who knows if something better is out there. But I thought the Runcam split Nano with a 20mm board was pretty decent. I didn't notice the latency. I mean, the latency, yeah, I didn't notice it. I didn't measure it either though. Chrismel FPV likes the Caddx Loris. ZFPV says the splits are analog at heart, so why would latency be comparable to DJI? Well, are they though? Because it's a 4K sensor, and then it's recording the 4K image, and it's also outputting it to the analog VTX. So the sensor actually may have similar latency to something like DJI. They're not analog at heart, is the takeaway, ZFPV. Yeah, that's why you have the 2-lens ones like the Runcam Hybrid. So the Runcam Hybrid has 2 lens, a high latency, high definition sensor, and a low latency standard definition sensor. Caddx ELRS, I think I tested the Caddx ELRS. I don't think I reviewed it. Did I review it? I don't think so. I thought it was okay. No, I haven't done the Caddx ELRS. Should check the Caddx ELRS. Well, Cool Cat says, I'm surprised that having 2 camera lenses is even necessary. Well, the issue is the sensor. So the sensor is, you buy a 4K sensor, it's got a certain amount of latency. You buy a standard definition sensor, it's got a certain amount of latency. The reason they have 2 lenses is because they have 2 sensors, right? They're not going to invent a brand new sensor or spend a ton of money on a low latency, high def sensor. So, Northern Tier FPV, no, an F-port receiver will not work on an S-bus port. An F-port receiver has to go to a UART TX, not a UART RX. Okay. I was going to get super chats, and then I got distracted by messages. Let's get super chats out of the way. Do we expect, Miguel T, thank you for a $5 super chat. Do we expect DJI Vista and Phoenix HD to be comparable with Nebula Pro or DJI camera? I have one. I haven't tested it yet. Who knows what the expectation is? So I don't know the answer about that. We'll just have to test it and see. Miguel T, thank you for $10. Miguel's got another question. Are rates really that different between micro and 5-inch quads? I mostly fly micros and my rates feel completely different as I move between sizes. Is there a rule to adjust your rates as you fly larger? Miguel, I think what you're feeling is that the more centralized weight of a smaller quad may make it feel like it has faster rates. Now, I will say I fly the same rates on almost everything, and I haven't noticed a massive difference. But I don't do if you're a pilot who am I thinking of? Frick. Now I've got Viper's name in my head, but that's not who I'm thinking of, but I'll only be able to think of Viper. If you're a pilot who does a lot of snap rolls, whoomp, or if you have a yaw spin, you do an inverted yaw spin where you go swap, zoop, right? And you've got them just dialed in, right? Then any change in your rates is going to throw you off, okay? And what you may just need to adjust the rates of the quad to compensate for the weight distribution. Hang on. I know how to find out who it is. It's Vic. It's Vic. That's why I thought Viper, because it's a V. Vic FPV. Vic FPV does a lot of half rolls where he just whop, and he's got the timing of his moves down, right? If the weight distribution of his quad changes and the rotational rate changes, then it's going to throw him off. And in case you're out there thinking, well, the quad is set to 900 degrees per second, so why would the weight distribution make a difference? Hang on, let's think about this. Let's say you've got a quad and your max rate is set to 900 degrees per second, okay? Now let's say you go way up high in the air and you go full stick deflection, okay? And now the quad is just rotating. It's going to accelerate until it reaches 900 degrees per second, and then it's going to roughly stay there. You with me? Okay. Now that's going to be the same whether it's a micro quad or a beast class. It will accelerate till it hits 900 degrees per second or whatever the commanded rotational rate is, and then it's going to stay there. But the acceleration, when you do a move like a half roll, that move consists of an acceleration as you deflect the stick, a period of time where it is at and maintaining the rotational rate, and then as you center the stick, a deceleration. And the heavier the quad is, the more mass and momentum it has, the slower the acceleration and deceleration are going to be. So that's why smaller quads may feel like they have higher rates. Because when you're doing just basic turns, then they feel mostly the same. Because the momentum, the inertia, the mass of the quad doesn't make much of a difference. You're not making rapid moves. But especially when you do like snap rolls or 360s, then a smaller quad is going to feel like it's faster. It will finish the roll faster because it accelerates faster and decelerates faster. So do you need to adjust your rates? Well, that's an interesting thing, because if you adjust your rates to make your snap rolls take the same amount of time, then I think your regular cruising moves are actually going to feel different. And I think the thing to do is to actually tune the quad. Like if the quad is properly tuned, then it will track the commanded rate very closely. So I think that if you do a snap roll on your heavy quad, and there's like this period of lag where you deflect the stick, but it has to accelerate and catch up, I think that's a tuning issue. And that when properly tuned, a small quad and a big quad should feel very similar because they should both be tracking your commanded rate very closely. Like if you think about it, think about the Blackbox logs that like Mark Spatz and Chris Rosser and Brian White show. And in those Blackbox logs, you've got the RC command, which is your stick position, and you've got the gyro, which is what the quad is actually doing. And a perfectly tuned quad, the stick position and the gyro line track each other almost perfectly. At that point, the quad is doing exactly what it's being commanded to do with very, very little delay. Now, if you've got two quads of different weight, but they are both tracking the cent point very, very closely, then it's the stick movement that will determine how fast they rotate, and they should have very similar feel. So I think the answer is tune your heavy quad to track the stick position more closely, and then you won't have to change the rate. So that's my hot take. Northern Tier FPV, thanks for a $10 super chat. He just says, thanks, that helped. Cool. Oman, thank you for 50 Swedish kroner. Happy Model Express LRS ES900RX are sold with two antennas, one straight, one corkscrew. Why two different designs? Let's have a look at that. Wow. Yeah, one of them's just like shorter, right? Like usually you see this spring style antenna on walkie-talkies where you need it to be flexible. Is it supposed to increase durability? Is it just supposed to be smaller? I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I presume that they're the same antenna. Just one is smaller. I don't know if the range is worse either. Yeah. I don't have a great answer for you there. I mean, presumably they're both tuned to 915 megahertz. In general, like when you do something like this to make an antenna smaller, you give up some performance or range. So I'm going to guess that this doesn't have as good range as the bigger one, but it's smaller and maybe more durable, although I don't know about that. Yeah. Martin Wynn. I did not miss your super chat. I'm just working my way back through the super chats. Thank you for £5. Can we strap the DJI Mini 2 camera to a quad 4K Superload? Could it be done? The DJI Mini 2. Oh, no. No. Martin Wynn, I don't know of any way to make... Oh, sorry. I don't know of any way to make like a DJI camera work like with an aftermarket DVR or something. I don't think... I mean, obviously with enough ingenuity, anything is possible. It probably uses like a standard MIPI interface or something, but I don't think it would be simple for a person to take a DJI Mini 2 camera and put it on a regular quad. Unless you can like find someone who's done it and has figured out how to make it work. Anthony DeStefano, thanks for a $5 super chat. How often does a Vista bind button break? It breaks a lot, but if you break it, how are you pressing the button that you've broken 2 of them, Anthony DeStefano? Because I mean, I'm not trying to brag, but I haven't broken any. And I obviously, I famously have a lot of Vistas. I've joked about that on my channel. So something about the way you're pressing the button is breaking the buttons, Anthony DeStefano, or something about the way you're mounting the Vista. It is a common point that it breaks, and you do need to be careful with the bind button. But it shouldn't break unless you're breaking it. It would be my take. I've never broken one like in a crash. Creators Cup, thank you for a $5 super chat. Creators Cup got the Nazgul Evoke. It flies like a dream, but it looks like low bit rate. I'm used to the Nebula Pro. Is this common with the Polar? I can barely see branches. Creators Cup, the Polar should have as good an image quality as the Nebula Pro, just more latency. So make sure that you are out of low power mode, okay? So if you do not see unlocked when you arm, if you do not see VBAT in the lower right of your goggles, well, you surely you do, because they shipped it. They shipped it like set up for that. Make sure you're at max power, and if you say it looks like low bit rate, check the bit rate. Also, you should definitely make sure that your antennas aren't damaged or disconnected. But no, the Polar should have just as good image quality and resolution, just more latency. Dustin Hyde, thank you for a $20 super chat. Will the Happy Model Express LRS 2.4 gig JST module work with my QX7 ACCST without the Crossfire mod? No. Well, sort of. The QX7 ACCST needs the Crossfire mod in order to operate at high speed. There are a couple workarounds, Dustin Hyde. Number one, you can install EdgeTX on your QX7. EdgeTX has full support for Express LRS and fixes the inverter mod problem in software, so you don't need to mod your QX7 with hardware. EdgeTX is still pretty preliminary, and I mean it's works, but it's still a little rough around the edges and not full featured. I mean yeah, I think that's fair to say. So if you don't want to mod your QX7, you could flash EdgeTX. The other thing you could do is, in the hardware screen of the QX7, turn the baud rate down from 400K baud to like 112.5. Just basically come down 1 or 2 clicks. I can't remember if it supports 250K baud. I think you have to come all the way down to 112.5, maybe 250K baud. I can't remember. But basically, take it down 1 notch until and your telemetry warnings will go away. The problem with that is it increases latency, and one of the whole points of Express LRS is low latency, so it's kind of shooting yourself in your foot. Or you do the mod. Ferraui's got a $5, and Durzo FPV, we got you. We are caught up. Oh, Bubby FPV, thank you for $5. Bubby, YRZ. The Bubby says YRZ. Okay. I don't know what that means. Well, we got to look it up on Urban Dictionary. That's where I find out what all the kids are talking about. Couldn't find it. Okay, I don't know what it means. It's the Young Rippers. Okay, Young Rippers. Got it. That's Bubby's group. Bubby's got a Discord server called Young Rippers. It's for Young Rippers. Although he has graciously allowed me to be on it, despite the fact that I am neither young nor a ripper. SoCal FPV says, anybody having troubles with slow SD card warning in the air unit? Yeah, SoCal, everybody for like 2 years now. Fix it, DJI. No, they haven't fixed it yet. Mark Renton, thank you for 100 Norwegian kroner. Thanks for your videos. I learned a lot. GMI Visuals, thank you for £2. GMI Visuals wants to know if there's any decent FPV websites out there. Oh, there is. FPVknowitall.com. Thank you for the opportunity to plug my website. Guess what? I'll show you guys a little treat. Hang on. Let me go back here. I have to pull this up. I'll give you guys a little preview. This webpage is not live yet. This is my sub 2. By the way, the title photo is just pulled from another page. No, this is not a sub 250 quad. Where I got to get this photo taken. But this is my upcoming sub 250 gram page. Let's see what you guys think of it. Got a little commentary there. Let's see. Bind and Fly. We've got the Smart 35, the Baby Hawk HD, and the 250. And I'm torn about this. The Massive Droner analog is under 250 grams. And the thing is, like, the reason it's here is I want a 3-inch. I can't find what's a good 3. Help me out, chat. Help me out, Discord. What's a good 3-inch sub 250? Like the Diatone GT349 was my favorite one in that category, but I think they're not making it anymore. And it's a little dated even if they are making it. So, like Diatone has I think it's the F3. Diatone Roma F3. They've got the L3. The L3 is their long-range one. But that's an L3. It's not like a Freestyle. So I'm not sure whether, I just don't know if that's a frame. I don't know about recommending it. No, hang on, back up. People are saying, what about the Apex 3? Hang on, back up. Yes, the Apex is on here. I mean a bind and fly, not just a frame. I mean a bind and fly. What's a good 3-inch bind and fly? Yeah. What's a good 3-inch bind and fly? The Roma F35. That's a 3.5. That's what I'm wondering. Are all the manufacturers switching to 3.5-inch? EDOC, the reason the Tiny Trainer is not on here is because this is focused on freestyle. And I feel like, yes, you can freestyle a Tiny Trainer, but it's like obviously tailored towards racing. Maybe it should be on here, though. Maybe the Tiny Trainer kit should be on here. I don't know. Maybe. Emax Hawk X. Hawk X. The Hawk X? No, Nanohawk X. So the Nanohawk X is a toothpick. So so sorry, I gotta clarify. So my focus on this page is under 250 grams, but I'm not putting toothpicks on this page. I'm putting them on their own page. So my thinking is that a toothpick is around 75 to 100 grams, which obviously is under 250, but it's a very different class than like a 3.5 at 230 grams. Okay. Durzo FPV, the Diatone 349, I'm not, are they still making it? Yes, it is great, and I would love to include it, but I'm not sure they're still making it. Find me a GT349 in stock. If anybody would have it, I bet Pyrodrone would have it. GTR 349. No, Diatone. GTR 349. Damn it. Why is it doing that? Because it doesn't have a 349. I don't think they're making it. Nope. Nobody has the 349 anymore. So the 349 is out. Bushizi says, I have the Roma L3. It is not great for freestyle at all. It's a cruiser. Yeah, GMI Visual says 3-inch is superior to 3.5-inch. Yes, I know there are absolutely people who feel that way. And that's why this page, I mean, I go into some of that here in the text, right? Right. Ciati feels that 3-inch is where you want to be for sub 250. I like 3.5. There's arguments both ways. Well, Scout Rotor, if you can only get the 349 straight from Diatone, I don't want to include it because I want people to be able to buy from various places. Now, here's the F35, which is probably great. Maybe we should include it, but it's a 3.5. This is a toothpick, so we're gonna skip that. That's for another page. Here's the Lumineer QAVS Mini 3-inch. Oh, I mean, you can only get it from Get FPV, which is a bummer, but it is. It looks it's out of stock also. So there you go. Blue Cheese DK. We'll change the subject for a second. Blue Cheese DK says, I ordered the Evoke from your affiliate link, but you didn't see any capacitors on the ESC. Should I install one when it arrives? Blue Cheese, if iFlight ships it without a capacitor, then presumably it's fine without a capacitor. If they thought it needed a capacitor, they'd put one on there. And if you blow it up, I mean, that's, I don't know. I can't. The thing is, like, I don't want to encourage you to, like, if you are good with soldering and it's no big thing, yes, put a capacitor on there. There's no downside. But if you are, like, mediocre or bad at soldering and you're just going to screw up your brand new, beautiful quadcopter, then don't bother. The thing is, if it blows up, is iFlight going to be like, yeah, sorry, our bad? Or are they going to be like, well, you crashed it? Reckon 3 FPV. Still thinking about Reckon 3 nano long range. No. Again, number one, not a freestyle quad. And number two, for this class, that's the title is wrong. It still says 4-inch freestyle. For this class, we're looking for stuff probably between 200 and 250. Something that's closer to 100 is like a toothpick. The Roma F35 is over 250 grams, says Trev. Oh, damn. Okay, well, that's out. That's out. AJ Key, a Simon K ESC is not good. They're completely out of date. So, anyway, I feel like that there aren't as many really solid 3-inch freestyle builds like there used to be. I wonder if I should put the Tiny Trainer on this list. Maybe. Maybe. Anyway. Interesting. So we got some motors, some flight controllers and ESCs, video transmitters, etc. All right. Thank you for the opportunity to plug my website. Avant Quad says Game of Drones. That's interesting. That's interesting. Avant Quads does make some good bind and flies. Actually, really good. Again, Tooth Fairy 3-inch. That's a toothpick. Super Deluxe. Does anyone make a bind and fly BQE? Rip squeak. Again, we're talking about bind and flies here, not frames. There's any number of great great 3-inch frames. That's not the issue. Where's bind and fly? Product. Bind and fly. Let's see what they've got. Have they got a 3-inch? Avio 3. I bet you. Ooh, this is very interesting. Avio 3. Oh, this is very interesting. Avant Quads makes good stuff. This could be the one. This could be the one. That could be the one. Maybe. Maybe. Interesting. Interesting. I'll think about that. That's got potential. Oh, the Tooth Fairy, Dave Pencilgwin. Tooth Fairy. No, not the movie. FPV Cycle Tooth Fairy. What do we got here? Does he sell bind and fly, though? Again, we're talking about bind and flies. I don't think he sells bind and flies. Baby Hawk R3? Did they make a 3-inch version of the Baby Hawk? Oh. Out of stock. That's interesting. I mean, obviously this is more a racing quad than a freestyle quad, although that distinction is a little bit unclear when you are not going to be carrying a GoPro. I mean, this says freestyle, but the distinction between freestyle and racing is sort of moot at this size, nevertheless. Anyway, Gal Kremer says the VO3. I think I'm going to go with the Avant quads. That's a good choice. I think we're going to get that in there. Durzo FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. The problem with this hobby is things come and go so fast, even for great models, and it's BS. Cycling Mikey says, thank you for £5. Just a hello and thank you. I love sitting here watching the stream and building stuff on my bench. I'm glad to be with you, man. Unfair Frame 653 in the YouTube chat wants to know, what do you think about how old a person should be to fly FPV or drones in general? Unfair, that depends entirely on the skill level, experience, and maturity of the person. There are people out there, kids out there, who have been raised with RC. There are, 6-year-olds who are better FPV pilots than I am. There are two issues. One is the capability to control the aircraft, and the other is the judgment to fly the aircraft safely and not take risks or do dumb things with it. Some of that can be mitigated by having a parent oversee them, right? So everybody's going to have to make that judgment for themselves. There is no age. Like, I guarantee you there are 17-year-old teenagers out there who have not sort of got the maturity and responsibility that I would feel safe with it. I mean, let's not pick on teenagers. There's 30-year-old adults who I would not feel safe having them fly near me, right? They just don't, either through training or temperament, they do unsafe things with their quads or their aircraft. So there is no age at which there's no minimum age. Like, I think that, probably like a 4-year-old would probably not have, maybe not even, like, I'm thinking about, when did my kid get old enough that he could like control a video game controller, right? And I think it was somewhere around like 4 is where he could like see what was happening on the TV and use the controller. Granted, you know, he had a lot of, he could use his tablet at the age of 2, but so I mean, if you really want a minimum age, like it's somewhere between like 4 and 6. But I think typically you're going to see people start to get the cognitive maturity and ability somewhere in around the, you know, 10 to 13 range. And that younger than that, it'll be an exception more than the rule that a kid would be able to fly safely and control the quad. That's my take. Anyway. Anyway. Is an antenna tracker worth it for long-range FPV? Asks Jimmy H. Jimmy, I'm not an expert on long-range, so I would have to hedge. I would have to take this with a grain of salt. Most of the long-range pilots I know fly on a high-gain antenna with a ground station, and they fly within the antenna beam, but the antenna doesn't move. Depending on what you're doing, obviously. If your mission requires you to fly all over the place, you may need an antenna tracker. But I think a lot of long-range pilots don't use an antenna tracker. So, Rauk FPV says Denmark has an age requirement of 15 years old for flying drones outside. Mark Gale asks, are you training your kid to be a pro at FPV? My kid isn't super interested in FPV. He likes video games. He likes doing his own thing. He's not super interested in FPV, so, I mean, I would. Clint Chapman, any rumors of a Polar Pro 120 FPS camera? Clint, no specific rumors. When they have hardware, sensors to make the 120 FPS cameras, they will. That's the bottom line. JHEMCU has a Express ELRS 2.4 gig receiver now? Really? Man, everybody's making Express ELRS receivers. I made that video of the Express ELRS receiver roundup, and like as soon as I made it, there were 3 more manufacturers doing it. Got an EP receiver from JHEMCU. Yeah. Who knows? Is it any good? Who knows? Have they left off a capacitor like Beta FPV did? No one knows. It's probably fine. What about the voltage regulator? Some of the EP receivers have a voltage regulator that fries. The Happy Model ones. Don't know. Any rumors about Fat Shark digital goggles? Asks Donald Donoho. Any rumors of Fat Shark digital goggles? Well, they have the Scout HD, obviously, but that's all. No other rumors or anything like that. MK2FPV says, Trappy said TBS could make a Divimath Sharkbite VTX on his latest stream. What do you think? Yeah, we know that. We know they could make it. Will they make it? That's the question. Obviously they can. Everybody knows they can. They're one of the leading companies who could. But will they? Like, did he say we could do it? Or did he say, yeah, we could do it? Like, was he just expressing the sentiment that they have the capability? Or was he expressing a likelihood that they would? That's the question. Vincent Aifa, what goggles would you suggest for a beginner on a budget? Eachine EV800D or 800DM? Mo wants to know, is there a downloadable GoPro mount for the JB QAV-S? I'll tell you what, Mo, you want a full case mount. I'm not sure about that. Let's go to Yegi. QAV-S, GoPro Hero 9. The top plate for the QAV-S. Oh, the JB one has the single piece top plate. Yes, good point. Let's see what we got. I mean, I just go to Yegi and search. I mean, he wants it downloadable, Mo C. Young. He wants it downloadable. He doesn't want Brain 3D to print it for him. There's the Johnny. There's the QAV-S. Let's see. What about if I put JB? Like, I know we have one, but it's not a full mount. It's a lighter weight mount. No, I'm not finding it. Yegi is usually better than this. In fact, we're not really even getting just the JB ones. That's better. What's this? What's this one? Is it a Hero 9 or a Hero 10? Oh, they're the same, aren't they? They're the same size. Fingers crossed on this one. Thingiverse will take 20 minutes to load, just like it always does. Well, any minute now, we'll find out. TBS should work with HD0. GMI visuals, I agree. M2K FPV says, hang on, we'll just wait for this page to load, but I'll go back to my face while we wait. Oh, there we go. Hang on a second. Oh, this is the official album of parts. Yeah. So GoPro Hero 9. How? Jesus. Oh my God. Thingiverse, you're so painfully slow. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, Freelojo, the question is it downloadable? That's what we're trying to check it. That's what we're trying to check. No one will sell you the file, Mo, because once they release the file, it's out in the world. So no one's going to sell the file if they're going to either give the file away or they're going to sell the prints. M2K says, Trappy seemed interested as he now understands Divimath is having problems designing good VTX boards. Yeah, that was a big insight that came from the Chris Rosser video, the Chris Rosser interview with Carl from Divimath, that they really want partnership from somebody like a TBS who knows how to make a VTX, that there's something for TBS to contribute there. Morton Upshot, it says, learn how to use Fusion 360. Yeah, let me get right on that. Let me just learn how to use Fusion 360 in all my spare time. No offense, man, but like, obviously that's a great skill and that's the right answer for some people. But some people bought a 3D printer just so they could print shit, not so they could learn how to use Fusion 360 to make shit. Let's see here. Stans FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. I just finished a build. I used the Newbie Drone 305 stack. The flight controller is not powering up, just blinking a red light. Betaflight says no data flash chip found. Okay, so first of all, Stans FPV, no data flash chip found. That just means your flight controller doesn't have Blackbox chip on it. That's all. It is not in any way related to the function of the flight controller, except that you won't be able to record Blackbox. People see that no data flash chip found error and they freak out. It's nothing. If the flight controller is not powering up, and you bought the stack, presumably the stack is put together correctly, you should contact contact Newbie Drone tech support, right? Maybe you have a bad stack, maybe you don't, but they'll be the fastest to tell you. Crunk thinks you have flashed the wrong target. Does it have Blackbox, Crunked? Newbie Drone 305 stack. Does it have Blackbox? So like, here's the thing. The ESC and the flight controller plug together with a factory wire, so it's not like you've got the wrong wire, right, or the wrong pinout. If you solder this up, you plug in a battery, the ESC wakes up. The ESC goes doot-a-doot, and the flight controller doesn't come alive. I mean, what could be screwed up there? The plug? Probably not. Like, I guess it's not impossible. Most likely, you have an issue with the hardware. Does it have Blackbox? I don't think it has Blackbox. No, there's no indication that it has Blackbox. No. So the reason it says data flash chip not found is because it doesn't have Blackbox. That doesn't matter. You say the flight controller is not powering up, stands FPV. So it goes doot-a-doot, and then nothing, right? Or what? You have a red blinking light. Well, if you have a red blinking light, then it is powered up. So now I'm confused. I'm confused, stands FPV. You say it's not powering up, but you say it has a red blinking light. How are those two things possible? We're missing something here. We're missing something. Finally, the page is loaded. So is this... Yeah, this is full coverage. This is fine, right? This is what you want, isn't it? All right, I think this is what you want. This album is what you want. For a GoPro Hero 9 case. That looks like full coverage to me. Yeah. Looks like full coverage to me. Yeah. Okay. I mean, Abraham, you're right. People do sell STL. I'm obviously not saying that no one in the world sells STLs. I guess my point is that once you sell the STL, it's out there. And once it's out there, people don't have to buy it. They can pirate it if they prefer to. So, I mean, some people do it and they rely on basically donationware. They sell the STL, and anyone who wants to support them buys it. But if you're a company who is selling a product like a GoPro mount, like a Brain 3D, Brain 3D isn't going to sell the STL for their GoPro mounts because their whole business is built around selling you the prints. And as soon as they sell the GoPro mount, then it's out there. Sell the STL. So yeah, no, I know people do sell STLs. I'm just saying that a company that is selling prints probably will not sell you the STL if their business is based around selling you the prints. I guess that's my point. Thomas Shoes World, thank you for a $5 super chat. How can I mount my GoPro Hero 3 to the JBQAV frame? Oh, out for Alexander Seidler. Yeah. I don't know. Like, what you would need would be just like a right angle couch or a piece of foam. I don't know of anybody who's made a 3D print for a GoPro that would work with GoPro Hero 3. I think you're out of luck on that one. Mo, that is the Hero 8, but there is a Hero 9 mount, Mo. Mo, you can see there's a Hero. This is an album full of prints. There's a ton of prints. So this is the Hero 8, but the Hero 9 is the same. It's the same. Yeah, there's a ton of prints. There's a Hero 9 in there as well. I fully updated the TBS Mambo and Freedom TX. I disabled the ADC filter, but it keeps turning back on every power cycle. Oh, I don't know about that. That's weird. I don't know why they would do that. That's pretty weird. You would have to ask TBS support if they know why that's happening. Oh, Ciati's here. Hello, Aaron Ciati. Ciati is here. It's party time. Hope you're doing well, Ciati. Hey, Ciati. Or maybe he got back to me. Hey, Ciati. Oh, you didn't get it yet, huh? Well, that explains it. That quad that I sent you is supposed to release on the 10th, Ciati. If you didn't get it yet, that's going to kind of stop... that's going to make it hard for us to review it. I will let him know. That you didn't get it. Well, he says he sent it. Let's see if yeah, no, it didn't. He didn't get it. Yeah, okay. Just have a personal conversation right here on stream, right? That makes a lot of sense. I just have to take care of these things as soon as I remember them. Big Mike wants to know, is parallel discharging a good idea? Yeah, it doesn't matter. The same issue. Here's the thing, though. Discharging in parallel like to go to storage. It'll take forever because your charger can probably discharge at 2 amps, which if you have a big parallel array full of batteries is going to take longer. But, I mean, it will work. It will work. Now, Ciati, he gave me a DHL shipping tracking number. The DHL tracking number says DHL has not received the package yet. So he has failed to ship it, which, given that he hopes to release it on the 10th, is going to make it hard for us to review it before he releases it. So, Crunked, I agree with you, man. Here's how you discharge your batteries. You fly them. Yep, that's my deal. That's my approach too. Jackalope FPV wants to know if I will be releasing a bind and fly DJI version of my Lumineer build. Jackalope, let me be clear. I don't have a bind and fly of quote-unquote my build. So I have a frame, the QAV-S JB edition. Lumineer took my frame and they built a bind and fly around that frame with, well, to be honest, a whole bunch of other junk they had laying around the warehouse that they wanted to get rid of. It's not junk in the sense that it's bad stuff, but like they were just like, hey, we got some motors, we got a flight controller, let's put it on the Bardwell frame and sell it as a bind and fly. Cool. I didn't participate in developing that or endorse it. And I was very clear with them. They were like, hey, we're going to do a bind and fly with your frame. Hang on. They were like, hey, we're going to do a bind and fly with your frame. And I was like, okay, but you cannot call it the JB bind and fly. I said, look, it is in fact the Lumineer JB frame. So if you call it the JB QAV-S bind and fly, that's that's accurate. But I said, I am just about to release... I'm going to release my perfect freestyle build. I said, I'm going to release my perfect freestyle build, and people are going to get confused and think this is my perfect freestyle build, or that I've released 2 builds, and I haven't. So, there is no bind and fly of a JB build. There is a bind and fly with my frame on it. Is Lumineer going to release a Caddx Vista version of this? I have no idea. I didn't really participate in developing this. It just uses my frame. And, I was like, yeah, you want to use... I mean, I get a small royalty on each frame that they sell. So, yeah, you want to put my frame in a bind and fly and give me more money? more power to you. Anyway, there we go. Is discharging safer than charging? Asks Remy Tim. Can you walk away from discharging batteries? Remy Tim, it's never a good idea to walk away when a battery is... I think it's safer than charging. I think batteries are more likely to go off when charging, but anytime I have batteries on a parallel board, you shouldn't walk away. Because when those go bad, they go bad. They go very bad. What transmitter stick ends do you like? Asks Chibi Kaiju. I usually use the stock stick ends, and I've actually tried a couple of other stick ends that are interesting. What is the stick end that looks like it's kind of like a honey dipper? What's that one? Those are actually pretty good, but I tried those out on somebody else's radio the day of the regional qualifier, and I didn't want to change. They gave me, I may still have those somewhere. They gave me a spare set. But I didn't want to change them out the day of the qualifier. The honey pot. Is it the honey pot? No, that's not it. I searched for TBS honey pot. Honey, it's just the TBS honey. No, that's not them. That's not the one I'm thinking of. Those aren't the... Vantech Grand Lotus. No, these were not metal. No, definitely not those. These were not metal. Let's just try RC controller stick ends. See if we can. They were like plastic and they were white. Blanking on who made them. Somebody in the chat is going to come up with it. The TBS honey stick. I don't think so. That is not the one I'm thinking of. That's not it. I'm sorry. That's not it. STP. No. Well, anyway. Anyway. I'm not coming up with it. So I think we're going to let it go rather than try it. Nope, not the crown jewels. It wasn't TBS. It wasn't TBS. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's the one. I guess I was wrong. It's not like a honey dipper. I was mixing up my... So I tried these Q-tips. That's the one I tried. I tried these out at the GQ and thought they were pretty good. Obviously, it takes time to really figure out whether this is going to work. But they were really good. I didn't want to switch over to them the day of the GQ and risk messing things up. But these were really good. I know, Siati, they look painful, but they were pretty nice. Jackalope FPV says, I've been looking to replace the Xylo ESC on your Xylo build, but I can't find one in stock. Any alternatives you'd recommend? Jackalope, you can use any ESC, but if it's not the Xylo ESC, you will have to rearrange the wires in the plug, which you may find to be pretty annoying. But if you go to fpvknowitall.com, I have recommendations for lots of different ESCs. You'll just have to bite the bullet and rearrange the wires. G. Strondel says, I'm having issues with bounce back when pitching and rolling. I've tried everything in Betaflight. Before I buy a new flight controller, do you think the Vista wire over the flight controller could mess up the gyro? G. Strondel, there's no question that a wire touching the flight controller could cause issues, but I don't think it would cause bounce back. I think it would cause other gyro related issues. So no. Bounce back that you simply can't tame. I mean, like just regular gyro noise isn't going to cause bounce back. It's going to cause other problems like hot motors and rough sounding motors. They are not squishy, Joe Minty. Those stick ends are not squishy. Brandon Beans says, how about you do a Blackbox log before you buy a new flight controller? Good thinking. Yeah. Good idea. Okay. Runcam Hybrid 2. Any opinions? Asks Daxi. Daxi, I think Ciati loves the Runcam Hybrid 2. Ask him. Brian Lewis says, I can't open my conformal coating bottle. Help. Bushizi says, at least it's waterproof now. Yeah, Brian Lewis, I ran into this problem. So when you close the conformal, assuming you're going to store it upright, don't squeeze the bottle on super tight. And it'll seal, and then you'll be able to get it off. At this point, basically like a pair of channel lock pliers is where I would go to open it. Michael S. wants to know about a good, a reasonable 4-channel LiPo charger. What about the Q200? The SkyRC Q200 doesn't get a lot of press, but it's pretty solid. I use this for charging batteries on my battery charging, my battery test setup. It's pretty solid. How much is it? How expensive is it? There's a 4-channel Toolkit RC. Toolkit RC is not making me super happy. It's like $200. That's kind of a lot. Is there a 4-channel ISDT? UC4, 18 watts. I don't know about that. Yeah, that's a 1S charger. That's not what we want. The ISDT K4. There we go. That's only a 2-channel. Damn it. I don't know about a 4-channel. There's a Toolkit RC 4-channel that only goes up to 4S. And I've had a couple people reach out to me lately saying that their Toolkit RC is died on them, and I go back and forth with Toolkit RC. They had one, I'm not going to remember the model names. Their first charger was kind of crap and died and was inaccurate and had firmware problems, and it was just garbage. And then their second charger was pretty decent. I held off on mentioning it until it had been out for a few months, and I thought it was pretty decent. And I thought, well, maybe they got their shit together. And then now I hear, yeah, anyway. Nyeh. Mo says 4-channel, the Q200 is 4-channel at 50 watts, too expensive. I mean, if you're running a 4-channel charger, you're only charging one battery per channel. You're not doing like gigantic parallel charging. Probably. So 50 watts is fine. I mean, $170, $180 is a lot. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I almost would buy two-channel chargers, like something like a Hoda D6 for $100. So yeah, if you're looking for 4 channels of charging, I would look for 2-channel chargers around $80 or $100 and buy 2 of them. The Hoda F6. Aha! Now, Hoda is a brand that has been pretty solid for me. Oh! 4-channel, 250 watts to $100. Jesus! Sorry, Christians. Apologize for taking the name of your Lord in vain. That's... What am I missing? What am I missing? Compared to the D6 Duo. So the D6 Duo is 325 watts per channel. This is 250 watts. Who cares? No, I'm seldom charging at more than 100 watts. when charging a single battery. Wow. No, it does not have an AC power supply. DC only, obviously. That okay. No, but hang on. Hang on. You're right. It's DC only, but they have a. Here's the DC only version. That's fine. Doesn't matter. This is the DC only version. Exact same price. Holy crap! Exact same price. $109.99. 4 channels at 250 watts versus 2 channels at 325 watts. I think for most people, the F6 is the way to go, don't you? 250 watts is plenty. Wow. Okay. Got to update my website. I got to do a review of this. This thing's knocking my socks off right now. That's a great charger. Wow. Okay. Crunked, you're right. You'll need a big power supply. You'll need a big power supply. You don't have to feed it. You don't have to feed it 1,000 watts. If you have a 400 watt power supply, just make sure you're charging it under 400 watts total. You'll be fine. That's something, though. That is really something. 1,000 milliamp balance current is not the best. It's not the worst. It's not the best. Yeah, the D6 Duo has 1,600 milliamp balance current. That's better. That's probably still worth it for most people. You got to feed it 24 volts. That's fine. Yeah, if you're feeding it 12 volts, you're not going to get 250 watts out of it. That's okay. Most people don't need more than 100 or 150 watts. What's a good store to buy it from? Let's start with Race Day Quads. Let's see if they've got it. Hoda F6. Do not have. But I tell you what. No. Pyro does not have. Hoda F6. Nobody has it. Why does no one have it? Okay. Well, newbie drone sold out. I don't know who has it. RC Wing, you got it in stock? Pre-order. Damn it. All right, forget it. You can't buy it. Yeah, the 1 amp balance current is the weakest spot. I think that there's enough people out there who would accept the 1 amp balance current in exchange for 4 channels of charging for $100. 4 channels for 110 technically. 4 channels for $110 is pretty impressive. 4 channels at 250 watts is pretty impressive. Your charging will take a little longer because the balance current isn't great. Word FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. I bought a used Shendrone Squirt. I can't get the modes tab to allow aux for angle, horizon, acro. What am I missing? Word FPV, unfortunately, I'm a little unclear on where in the process you're failing. So if you want to email me, I'm happy to go into it a little deeper, but we got to do some back and forth, and we're 5 minutes to the end of the stream, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that. Word FPV, when you say you can't get the modes tab to allow aux, like what's going on there? If you put it in the chat, I'll keep an eye out. Maybe we'll get it done before the stream ends. Speaking of which, the stream will be ending in just 4 minutes. Aaron Ciotti is going to be streaming on his channel at 3 o'clock. He's going to start posting the link. If you're having a good afternoon working on your quads and so forth, then click on his stream after I go off the air, and he will be doing... What are you doing today, Aaron Ciotti? Unhide unused modes. That's a possibility. I'm still watching for Word FPV to tell me what's going on with his. I'm still watching. Thank you very much for being here. L. Leston says, thanks for the info. So it's possible that any minute now my COM port will appear, because this iFlight flight controller takes forever. I wonder if I... No, not COM1, you doofus. It takes forever for the COM port to appear. If I go to configuration and I set the gyro to first, will it fix that? Sometimes the COM port not appearing is because the gyro takes a long time to calibrate. That didn't seem much better. Let's try second. Oh, I didn't save. Damn it. Second, save and reboot. Okay, now let's plug and unplug. Now it's about the same. In the modes tab, if you do hide unused modes, let me just add one mode, then all the other modes will disappear if they're not used. Could that be the issue? They're disappearing? I don't think so. That doesn't feel right to me, but... Can't get modes tab to allow aux. Yeah. Oh, he says it's like the previous owner has a setting which locked it in angle or horizon. Word FPV, what you need to do is take a screenshot of your modes tab and let me see it. Email it to me, joshuabardwell@gmail.com, and we'll take it from there. That is gonna bring us, though, to the end of the stream. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you to everybody who donated in the chat, in the super chats. And thank you. Oh, where did I closed my YouTube window. Oh, well. How am I going to end the stream? Thank you to all the patrons in the Discord server, and to everybody who watches my channel and participates on the channel. It does mean a lot. Would love to have your subscription. Would love to have you as a patron. Link in the video description if you want to join my Patreon. Would love to have you comment, like, subscribe, all that nonsense. Thank you, Madstech, for £5 super chat as well. Ciati's going to be doing FPV Cycle Glide FC and ESC swap. So head on over to Ciati's channel and watch that. And in the meantime, I will see you guys next time. Happy flying, everybody. I'll see you Monday. See you tomorrow at 8 p.m. for my next stream. Happy flying, everybody.